Welcome out to another episode of It's All Been Done Radio Hour. This week we have our 6th story roundtable special for you, the Topnotch Tangler, featuring our lead characters from the Topnotch Tangler. Before we get to that, we'd like you to check out Circle 270 Media, which this podcast is a part of, and It's All Been Done Presents, found at IABDpresents.com, our parent network of video, series, podcast, written work, and more. We hope you enjoy this special story roundtable. Welcome out to another story roundtable. This one is long anticipated, and the last of our original sketches I think we got to do a roundtable for.
Oh, is it? Oh.
We kept putting it off and putting it off to find a good story point where it felt like, okay, now we need a roundtable. We're here to talk about the Topnotch Tangler.
Yay!
The Topnotch Tangler! Ooh, the Topnotch Tangler!
And I am joined by the Topnotch Tangler herself, Miss Kimberly Benson, Samantha Stark.
Hello, citizens.
And Lieutenant Adam Carson, Joe Morales.
Oh boy, thanks for having me.
Now known as the Cosmic Comet.
I can't. The Cosmic Comet! It's still weird. Yeah.
Still new. And this is why we waited. So with Universe Journey, we waited till the musical. With Daniel Kravitz, we waited till the end of Volume 2. With the Topnotch Tangler, our stories were so standalone and self-contained that it was like, okay, when are we going to get to a point where it really feels like this is the conclusion of something? And spoiler alert, we'll talk about this later in the podcast, but this is Lieutenant Carson's final episode for some time, at least as a main character.
Yes,
it felt like a good time to have this discussion. So let's talk about the beginning of the Topnotch Tangler. It was part of show number 2, so you guys were already established as actors in the series.
Yes.
Sam, that was one of the first things you auditioned for, though, wasn't it?
Yes, it was. And I believe it was Nick who told you, if Sam's not the Topnotch Tangler, I'm going to kill you.
I mean, after your audition, and I told him and I told you at the time, the audition period is not up. Everybody gets a fair chance.
Yeah.
They might not make any decisions until the end.
And
But I did come out of your audition thinking, Sam's the one to beat. She's got a great voice down.
And I'm super campy and dorky, so I think that works.
Mm-hmm.
And that's most of our feedback, at least about me, is like perfect amount of camp.
Yeah,
Like,
it is. It's camp, yeah.
Camp and awkward pauses are Sam's forte.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, so we cast you as Kim. We cast Keith Jackson, our missing cast member here, as Commissioner Carl Darling. And then Joe, who would play... in the episode 1, you played...
I was Brentley
Gary Marshall.
and Gary Marshall.
Brentley was going to be recurring, we knew.
And then...
Gary was definitely not.
Gary was not, yeah. But
'Cause he died.
Yeah, because at the time when the auditions were going on, because I was like, you know what, if I just get something, like, I don't care. I don't care what it is, because I was like, then it's a 2-hour drive for me, so I was like, you know what, I can come, a couple times a year, not a big deal. Mm-hmm. And then it was that first rehearsal, you're like, yeah, if everybody can, we're just going to keep everybody, so... They're like, you're like, we're gonna go through auditions and stuff, but if everybody here is fine, like, just audition. Like, not a big deal. And then that was when the Topnotch Tangler came, and I was like, I always wanted to be in a superhero thing. But I don't know how.
Well, I think I meant by that, keeping everybody thing, is we had two other segments to premiere that weren't in the first one, and I thought the cast was already large, and so I wasn't anxious to add another set of actors.
Right, yeah.
So that's why I encouraged you guys, So yeah, you got Carson in that second show.
I did,
Do you remember anything about that audition or why that part appealed to you?
So I think... One, it was just being in a superhero sketch to begin with. I was like, I don't care. I want to be in a superhero sketch. Superheroes were my childhood. And
so you're Carson.
So I'm Carson. I don't know. So Carson, I don't know how the voice, because Virgil, I know, asked me. He's like, is it based off of... it was somebody from the Andy Griffith Show. And I was like, no, I didn't think anything of that, but we're going to go with that, because that sounds way better than me
yes, it is.
playing with my voice. I think it was because I liked Brentley's voice. And then I was like, I don't know what's going to add more of a... What is a... assistant to whatever anybody in the police force sound like, and all of a sudden it was a southern accent, so it was a mix of those two together, and I was like, we'll see if this works. And then I think
it did okay.
I think
a little bit,
but I think because I don't think his voice was as high until it got higher as the series.
Yeah.
Well, as you got comfortable and as we got comfortable with each other and got comfortable with the content, because not many of us knew each other. So once everyone sort of fell into their place, you could feel like the elevation and the difference of the cast. Like we all walked in one day and it's just like bam, and everyone was comfortable.
And that is what happens with shows though too, is that like you can tell like that first episode is like everyone's kind of feeling their way into it, but then it's like once it starts, everyone's kind of got, you know, this is their shtick, this is what it is, and this is what flows with every character and every single interaction.
Yeah.
So
I mean, I knew we were going to do a superhero piece from the beginning, and I don't think I ever really considered using a male superhero as the lead because, honestly, I felt like it had been done a lot.
It's been done.
And it's all been done. Which is a reason to put a male superhero in. But no, at that point, it was looking at the cast. The Universe Journey was kind of male-heavy. Scary Dead was balanced, but Daniel Kravitz was going to be male-led. We had Porn Stars, which is female-led, but they were a little ditzy, so I'm like, okay, Smart, Strong Woman helps round out the show. So I think from the beginning, it was always going to be a female superhero. Sam ended up playing both the ditz and the hero.
Yeah.
So that worked out well for you.
Two of my favorite characters.
And such totally different characters.
Yeah.
Except
different
they
feels.
also both have like a big heart in a way. That, Just
They
different
just always want to
approaches
help people.
Yes. They are similar in some ways.
I mean, Stacey was intelligent at some point.
Only when she didn't have sex.
Exactly. She was intelligent before.
She was very, very intelligent. Like
Anastasia Xanadu.
Yep. Like Kim level intelligence after the accident. But then when she has sex, she's done.
But then Kim also, we found out, lost intelligence with her accident. Or different intelligence. Because she was a scientist.
She was enhanced intelligence.
She does, but she lost her science stuff.
Oh, and became business savvy.
Savvy. So both of your characters lost science knowledge due to some accidents.
Stacey has science knowledge. Kim has business knowledge.
Yeah.
They can.
It all balances.
Yeah.
They could work out.
Yeah.
That's interesting. That's pure coincidence that they both lost science knowledge.
I'd never even thought about that until right now.
I did not have an origin for the Topnotch Tangler done ahead of time. I remember when we did that first Gather on the Fire and we revealed how she got her powers, and then we were like at the narrator's like, will this be followed up upon? Probably, but maybe in a long time because we have no idea.
Because we don't know what's going to happen.
Yeah. Like there was no thought to following it up. Which is funny because right now we're about to spend the next 6 months following up on that, like, majorly. So early Topnotch Tangler, it was basically a villain every week, and you had to untangle something.
Yep.
That formula, and there was lots of alliteration. That was kind of the formula to make it work.
But like the alliteration, that is superhero to me. That's what I think of. I think of old 60s.
Oh, it's definitely more 60s.
Yeah, that's what I think of. So I'm like, I love this because it is. I mean, it fits with the formula of It's All Been Done. So it just worked.
Well, I felt like Carson at first was one note, but then we kind of added little elements like his girlfriend liked him to use handcuffs and stuff like that.
Which we never really added on to that at all.
No, I think what I ended up deciding was he was just unlucky in love because he seemed awkward when he talked about it. And so then we kind of were like, I think we dropped a line in another episode where he couldn't keep a girlfriend. And he was just not finding the right... He was just not finding the right person. But he identified with Kim. I mean, he was always a fan of the Topnotch Tangler from the beginning. Do you think it was his goal to work with a superhero, or do you think he kind of fell?
I think he just sort of fell into it because I think he just loved just the atmosphere of being in a superhero. So that's why I was like, it just kind of fit with what I wanted anyway. I was like, I just wanted to be in a superhero atmosphere, and I'm just excited. So it just kind of flowed into that, and then I think it just as the writing progressed along, that's what ended up happening.
Did it surprise you that he was so intent to try to be her sidekick after being a cop? Because I felt like he was comfortable with Carl.
I think he was very happy, but I think especially after he gained powers, that of course then he's like, no, now I must use them because that's just how the formula works. He's like, no, now I have to be some kind of sidekick of any kind, but I don't want to lead anything.
Well, you were trying to be sidekick before that, though. Before you got the powers.
Oh, that's right. Kind of.
Yeah, you thought you could make yourself a sidekick without powers.
I'm going to be honest to everyone. I probably have forgotten so much stuff that they're going to have to remind me of
Check out the wiki. By now, it's way more built out than it is at the moment.
And I know we talked about the wiki. We talked about the wiki. I still haven't read all.
So Sam, though, Kim was very hesitant to take Carson on even after he got his powers.
Yeah.
What did you think? Do you remember what you thought about that at the time?
I thought it made sense because Carson could easily get hurt. But he knows how to do his job. Like, we established that he's a very good cop.
Yes.
And Kim knows that, but he's also got a sense of, boyishness and wonder to him that he gets so excited, and that foolhardiness that could lead to foolhardiness, and that could get someone hurt or killed.
Yeah.
Oh, good
And
point.
so she's just trying to protect the people that she cares about most, and Carson has become one of them.
What did you think about the ultimate revelation of why she was blocking him? Because she had already lost the sight.
Yes. Oh my gosh.
See? Okay. I'm not the only one.
No, clearly.
No, I'm. Cause
I know these
It's hard.
characters way too well.
It's hard because we have a bunch of different sketches
Yes.
and keeping things in line.
Sure.
So I promise I know
We've
my
only done
character.
53 live shows, Sam. What are you complaining about?
Only.
Yeah, well, yeah, that's right. It was 53.
Because she lost the flim flam floozy in a pretty detrimental way.
Yeah.
I mean, like, pieces of her rained down
yeah.
on everyone.
Well, we had to make clear that she wasn't coming back because
Yeah.
it's such a superhero
So-
trope.
Yeah. So we had
That
to
people-
obliterate her completely, and that's. So, I mean, like, to see someone that you mentored and brought from the brink of, like, because she's running with the wrong crowd, and she's heading down the path of supervillainy. So to bring her back from that and to make her care about other people, and then, you know, she does the most selfless thing, is to take one for the team, take the ultimate bullet for everyone, and, you know, and I think Kim would know that Carl would do the same thing, or
Sure.
Carson would do the
Carson
same
would
thing.
do the same thing.
And Carl would too, but yeah.
Yeah, one of my favorite dynamics early on was the Topnotch Tangler and the Flim Flam Floozy. They had such a cool friendship.
Yeah.
That was like gal pal part of the show. I think I mean, we definitely saw a different side of Kim when that happened. I mean, not only did she break up with Carl right about them, like really broke up because they were already broken up, but now like he was mad at you, like.
But at this point, Carl didn't know that she was the Top-Notch Tangler.
And now she did.
Only knew it was
right. So I mean, you lost your alliteration, you lost some of that cheeriness, you lost your friend.
Yeah.
And we kind of went through a dark period there. So yeah, I think Kim kind of like had an optimism that she started to lose. I think there, and she's just now.
Yeah, she
getting
lost
back.
her luster
Yeah.
and her campiness, and she was less excited.
Yeah.
You know, I mean.
But you think she's getting that back now?
Oh yeah, for sure. You can sort of feel it.
Yeah.
And she's like, yes.
It's slowly edging its way back up.
Caitlin, and honestly, I think we would have kept the Flim Flam Floozy longer had Caitlin Hamilton not left the cast.
She was so
Yeah.
good.
We did have to have Colleen Dunn sub in a couple times as the Floozy, and she was also
Oh, she was
excellent.
also wonderful.
Good substitution. Probably one of our better substitutions for sure. But yeah, it was. We knew we were losing Caitlin, and so it kind of felt like a good time to bring that character to an end, and that's why we also thought it wouldn't have the impact if we made it like she could still be out there. So that we had to show her death so that the impact really hit. We're joined by Keith Jackson, who plays Commissioner Carl Darling. So we were talking about the loss of the Flim Flam Floozy and how that changed Kimberly. Then we know Carson did not like the Flim Flam
Carson
Floozy.
did not like the Flim Flam Floozy, but then, and because he was like, oh, she can't change, like she's always bad. But then here comes bad rap,
Yeah,
and that kind of changes everything in his.
it does. Put
Yeah.
a pin in it. We are going to talk about bad rap. I
Okay,
promise.
no, I
But
know, I didn't like that.
I want
thought.
to jump back now that we
Yes,
got Keith here.
exactly.
I think Carson and Kim, both of them, you kind of know where you stand with them. They're both pretty open about things. I think the third member of our ensemble, Mr. Carl Darling, is a lot more reserved. Would you agree, Keith?
I suppose.
Yeah.
He doesn't. Yeah. Okay, Carl. Thinking back to when you first auditioned for that role, what about that role excited or appealed to you?
So I think I think I auditioned for the narrator, probably Jameson,
Yes.
probably Kake.
Probably. Meow Meow. I think you auditioned for Meow Meow.
Oh God, yeah, well, yeah, that whole scene
Yeah,
was
yeah.
kind of there, so it was just like all the parts.
Yeah. Anyway, what about Carl appealed to you? Why did you want to play Carl?
I mean, I suppose it's closer to the sort of my voice fits that kind of character, I guess, is the thing, for lack of a better way to put it. And of course, it's in a superhero sketch, and
So then we had all the silliness early on of Carl not knowing who Kim was Kim didn't know who Carl was because she couldn't see through her mask.
Oh yeah.
oh my God, I forgot. About
I was like,
What?
Her mask was cut weird, so she couldn't see through it very well.
I just imagine she sees like
Daredevil.
Daredevil scenes.
Daredevil,
Yeah.
yeah.
So I was like, she just sees shapes and everything's fine.
But you didn't recognize that distinctive voice? I'm just saying.
Yeah.
God, you're
Of
dumb.
all the voices.
Right.
I don't know.
So
That was
distinct.
just my attempt of trying to
Of all the
find
radio,
a
of
twist,
all the
Find some-
voices,
something
and
find a
all,
to
twist
yeah.
on the trope.
Which
all-
is, yeah, it's
of
that
all the
trope of
voices
just
and all the radio
all
shows.
masked. Yeah.
Yeah, and then Carl didn't find out for quite some time. Did that bother you? Does it bother you when a significant other fails to recognize their significant other in costume? Because that is a trope.
I mean, it's one thing if the two people knew each other for a very long time before the other person just put on a costume suddenly.
Yeah, I think you guys, when the series had started, you'd been working together, what, a year? And dating maybe even less than that?
Well, I mean, to say that were they dating when she first got her powers?
No.
See, I mean,
she got her powers first.
If you meet this person at the same time you meet somebody else, you don't really think of
Right.
Gotcha. Yeah. It's not like she suddenly started disappearing.
Yeah.
And she had a good excuse. She was trying to run a corporation.
Right.
So,
$1 billion
$1
corporation.
corporation.
I mean, she's
Another-
very rich.
Well, I mean, part of it for me is I had trouble recognizing faces sometimes anyway, or
Oh, me too.
remembering names,
Me
and
too.
if you. And plus, just in the city alone, you see all these kinds of people. I mean, everyone has like a doppelganger of some sort. You don't really assume that person must be that person in costume if you see somebody.
That's true. That's
It's
a
like
good
what?
point.
It's like what are the chances of that?
I think a mask always makes it a little more difficult, and we did establish that the Topnotch Tangler wears a mask.
Yeah.
And she never stopped wearing the mask; she just fixed the eye holes.
Yeah.
So she still wears one.
Yeah, but is it just like the Robin type
We
eye
haven't.
mask?
We have not established how big
No.
the mask is.
Interesting.
Actually had a mask for the first couple
You
episodes. a
did.
physical
I
mask,
remember.
But
Made
it had
you sweaty or something.
it did make me sweaty around the eyes. But that's not what bothered me. It had just an elastic band in the back, and so taking it on and off was
Yeah.
not conducive to holding
Holding.
it. It just wasn't working out.
I think you
Like I
wore it
wanted
up
it
until
to.
the time she knocked the mask off, and there was that, like, oh my god.
I remember doing that physically and being
Yeah.
like, oh, and then holding up my binder like, you can't see me.
And I think it was the month after that, like, I'm not wearing this mask anymore.
Yeah,
we already
no.
did the bit.
We're
We're
done.
good.
Yeah, I was kind of like, I'm over it.
So, yeah, we met the Flim Flam Floozy early on. We also met Greg early on. What do you think Greg's thing is? Because he's been kind of enigmatic.
Well, I mean, I think the purpose of the character, from a story standpoint, is to sort of be the voice of reason or something to kind of balance out the villain, to point out how.
He does seem hesitant of the worst of the plots.
Well, yeah, I mean, some of the villains are obviously intentionally silly, and so you need that kind of voice to kind of balance out. Okay, we know that this is really silly. To that usually helps
Yeah.
the joke land, I think.
Yeah, I think that Greg is just still trying to find his place, because obviously he's with a villain, and then he's just like, okay, no, they're in trouble. I'm gonna go away now. So I think he's just trying to maybe find his place too, and I don't know. I don't think he could be a main villain, but he could be. I don't know.
Do you think Carson likes Kim better or Carl?
Oh,
The tough question.
that is because I was like, it depends, I guess, because he idolizes Kim in the sense of the superhero, but he's
He
always
idolized Carl, too.
He also, yeah, that's
I think
because
yeah.
I think of now on the episode where Carson decides to leave, and he's more choking up
Yeah.
with the commissioner because he's worked alongside him for so long.
Yeah.
That
I think it's kind of like almost like mom and dad.
like it's
Kind of
not.
relationship. Like, not to say that he's not hapless. He's a very good cop. He can take care of himself. But it's the innocent side of him that's very like, mom is kind of the fun one, the one that's going to go and dad's the disciplinarian. And
That makes
he
sense.
he
It's a good way
gets
to look
he
at
gets
it.
structure from Carl. He gets like more of his morals from that, where he gets his whimsy from quote mom.
Sure.
Because
So-
that's the fun
Yeah.
superhero world, and that.
But then there's a
being cop
difference
is more-
between Kim and Topnotch Tangler.
Yes, that's true.
So Kim is more mom. Topnotch Tangler's like the fun aunt, maybe.
Yeah, fun.
And became your buddy that
Yeah.
you hung out with. But yeah, no, I think he does value Carl a little more because I see that. But yeah, I definitely think he could tell Kim things he couldn't tell Carl things for a long
Yeah.
time, and I think that maybe made him value Carl a little more. Like that he was this outside. I don't know. Like there was that formalness that he wanted to break down.
Yeah.
And when Carl finally It was
Let's
a real
man.
pleasure serving with you, which Carl rarely broke that professionalism.
Because and it was always just keep it down, Carson.
Yeah.
Do you think, how upset do you think Carl is that Carson has left?
Well,
I think he would probably values him as an employee or whatever, and also confidant in that in that setting. It's hard to put that in words. I think you've very much, as you were saying before, like the disciplinarian type thing. I'm sure there must be a reason why that they're usually together.
He was his right-hand man. Do you think Carl can find that with another officer?
Well, Smith, yeah, certainly. I don't know.
I don't think he relies on Smith as fully as he did Carson when the series started.
Certainly.
I don't think he's fully embraced that.
Well, you were talking about he had one foot out the door. He had one foot out the door at the police station.
Right.
But he was still going to be around.
He was going to work with
And Carl knew he'd still be there.
Yeah.
But now he's going to be gone completely.
Yeah. And unfortunately, that decision was made again because of cast availability. Because Joe decided to leave the show.
Yes.
Decided.
Because we fired him.
I was fired. My lawyers are coming here shortly.
That's why he's here doing this show, doing this episode so cheerily.
No, you're
Fired,
leaving
guys.
to make it as an actor full time, right?
Yeah, we're going to try this and see how it goes.
It will go wonderfully.
hope.
I have no
You're
doubt.
fantastic. You're very talented. We're
No
going to miss
doubt.
you a lot.
He's going to be super famous one day and leave us all behind.
I know. I couldn't bear to recast Carson at this point, and I thought about killing him off, but I didn't want to. I want him to still be out there somewhere where he can come when Joe has time
Just
to come
fly
back,
in.
when he can fly in and
run in.
help
Run in.
run in, because he's very fast.
He's very fast.
Yep.
He's like, never mind. I was like, let's talk about Kim and Carl. 'cause
Here's that baby.
Kim and Carl had their share of relationship drama. Do you think they're finally past it, or do you think there's still more to come?
Well, now that he knows the identity and can more easily accept the availability of Kim, I think it's a little easier. But I think there's still going to be some growing pains because they have essentially the same job, as protecting the city. But I'm thinking of like the superheroes that they're sort of vigilante-ish anyway, if not full-on vigilante, and they work outside of the law. And I think that will be a hard thing for Carl to deal with if Kim does something that's not necessarily in the line, because Carl's very this is the book.
Yeah, so if she
driven.
goes off, because right now we haven't talked about it like officially in canon, but she's sanctioned by the police. She works with the police.
I was going to say that I mean the whole thing was structured from the beginning as though superheroes were folded into the world in such a way they're sort of accepted.
Yeah.
It's
Because Glamorous Gal blazed that path. And in Tiptown, it's always we had Glamorous Gal, and now we have the Topnotch Tangler. Like, we had a little girl in one episode say, boys can't be superheroes. Like, in their mind, we had Glamorous Gal, and now we have the Topnotch Tangler.
I love that.
Yeah, what about Kim's relationship with Glamorous Gal? What do you think about that?
I think she learned. I don't really know. We haven't explored a massive amount yet, and I know more is going to come.
But she's dead.
Well, she is now. We're going to do flashbacks.
I know. You just spoiled something.
Oh my goodness! Well, but
Sorry,
I
Keith.
think she learned like self-control. She learned a lot of compassion. Not
alliteration.
She definitely learned alliteration. She took English classes at night.
I already got through most of the December script because
So you already saw the
I
flashback.
just haven't gotten to Packard and Radcliffe yet.
Okay, so spoilers, sorry. But next, in December, we will have a flashback with Glamorous Gal. Yay.
Did you know that?
Yes.
Yes, I
Okay.
did.
She was at the story meeting. She knows lots.
I did not know that.
No, they did not.
I did
Well,
not
you
know
won't
that.
be here.
No,
Glamorous Gal returns.
I'll be in the area. I have a wedding in December. That's why this is my last show, not
Not December.
December. Yeah.
Yeah. I'll save that for my tease later. But yeah, I think Glamorous Gal was important to Kim, and I think Kim's following her footsteps. But I also think Kim's coming to her own and forged her own path at this point.
Taught her how to be humble too.
Kim is so humble.
She really
She doesn't
is.
talk about any of her powers except the tangling.
Yeah, that's what she
Tangling and
chooses.
She can fly. She has X-ray vision. She's super
Super straight, but the best part is we've never capped her powers.
No.
So we just keep bringing out more.
Yeah.
And I think that's hilarious. And I think it just drives the joke of tangling and untangling even farther. And it's just like, but you can do all of these things. Why?
And she still maintains a day job. I think that's pretty
She does.
impressive.
Yep.
The fact that she still has this job that she goes to from 9 to 5 every day and then puts on the tights, and that's pretty
Well, she's the boss. If she needs to take a couple hours, she'll take a couple
That's true.
hours.
She does run Benson Laboratories.
Yep.
Bad Rap came into the picture, played by the delightful Anna Leeper.
Yes.
That came about because we did the Packard Act of Hamilton, and you played Alexander Hamilton, and
That's
you
right.
rapped. And Anna is obsessed with the musical Hamilton, Lin-Manuel Miranda, that we did not know about at all, and coincidentally, now.
Yeah. Oh yeah. We came up with the idea ourselves.
Completely originally.
Yeah.
We didn't parody, though. We did our own music. So
I didn't even
that's
know
good.
who Hamilton was.
That's true.
Yeah. But Anna was like, I can rap. I should date Carson, and we should rap. And that's how that came about. She forced herself into the
Yeah.
show as that character.
But it
Said-
works.
Oh, it works so well. I love Bad Rap.
Forced.
Forced. Well, she is a villain. Not Anna. Anna's sweet.
So
Bad Rap is a villain.
Bad Rap is a villain.
She will cut a bitch. But what about all those
Cut a
bitches
bitch.
she didn't cut?
Yeah, but no, yeah, she
What
did.
about all the people I didn't kill?
Right.
One of my favorite lines.
Well, we found out in today's episode that for Century City, she's actually very minor league.
Yeah.
I mean, henchmen kill more people than she does.
Yeah, so it's
So it's only in Tip Town where she looks bad.
really bad. Yeah.
So you guys have all seen or read, well, maybe not Keith, apparently,
Yeah.
the Paul episode.
I have not.
How do you think learning about a city that's populated by clones and has all that murder affects the Topnotch Tangler's world? And clearly it's starting to bleed over. Both Bad Rap and Helizani are from
Yeah.
Century City.
So yeah, the more that place gets out of hand, the more it's going to ooze into other places, like Tip Town or Turtle Township. You know, and it's gonna start spreading and infecting like a virus. So it's something that has to be taken care of, and that's what I was saying. Like maybe Kim's gonna have to do some stuff outside of her norm and outside of her code and outside of the law. Something drastic has to be done so that way she can keep Tip Town and other places safe.
And outside of Tip Town.
So just hypothetically.
Hypothetically.
Yeah.
she does.
I don't know that.
No,
far
that
ahead.
part's not part of our
Yeah,
discussion.
that's
That's
all.
just-
That's
Yeah.
Sam's thinking.
Oh, getting back to that, what the whole Kim and Carl thing. Again, just structurally, and there have been stories like this, of course, in different iterations of superhero things. Just the phase where finally the couple knows secret identity, and they're just having to kind of change the story to fit that. And it's she said growing pains and so forth, but at the same, it's just a different type of story altogether than, than having to use that tension of, oh my god, I don't want them to find out.
Yeah. Now we're back to having somebody that doesn't know the identity, though, because Lieutenant Smith is always there, and she does
And
not
she still
know
doesn't know.
that Kim is the Topnotch Tangler. So we've added that element back in a different way. And that's going to actually play out here over the next few months as well. So, do you think... But I'll never say never, and we deal with the story a few months at a time, generally, or a year at a time. I don't think we'll split Kim and Carl up again. I think it would take a lot to split them up. But we could always put tension in their relationship because they are not going to agree on everything. What do you think it would take Carl to leave Kim at this point?
Before we even get to that part,
Okay.
it was just what she was saying about, it would have to take, first of all, for there to be that kind of disagreement, it would have to be something outrageous or very violent or something that's uncharacteristic to the...
She murders Helizani.
Yeah, something
That
like
would be,
that.
that would
Yeah.
be big.
The tip. It's hard to.
Carl's like, no, you're not.
That
a
would be
killer.
big for both
and
of them.
she just lets her.
I mean, I think that would really sit hard on Kim's psyche and
It would.
mess with her, too.
Well, so in the show we've established that there is violence, although it's sort of cartoony and sound
It
effecty.
was. It was.
throughout-
It's starting to not be.
throughout the show. So it's. I think it's when if it starts to seem a little more real than that, then it's going to seem strange.
But I think you both made your peace that Carson's going to be with the villain. So there is some give in the moral code, right? Or do you think either one of you still disapprove of the relationship? So we took Carson out of the Topnotch Tangler a show early so that we could have an episode where we saw Carson beyond the Topnotch Tangler. What did you think of that? And Carson wasn't even the center of that episode, honestly.
No, it was just kind of like an outlying thing. But throughout the episode, because that was when Glamorous Gal was talking, and Carson was even already at that point where he's like, I don't know what to do because I want to be with Bad Rap.
Sure.
But I just don't know if leaving what I've always, what Carson's always tried to do and be the Topnotch Tangler sidekick. So I kind of liked how it played out sort of just like in the middle and kind of he's just contemplating it throughout the entire rest of the episode. And then he's like, okay, nope, this is my decision. I'm leaving.
Well, I mean, today's episode, this most recent one, where you're with the Paul and bad rap, Carson's still not the center of that episode.
No.
He's the catalyst, but I wanted to make Carson the center, but I felt like we had to bring the Paul and bad rap together to be able
because that's
to know
that's
that story's going to go
be
forward.
the hardest to try and
right, and so they ended up taking
together.
more of a front and center presence than that. Well, what do you think of Carson's new life?
It's going to be a struggle for him
Sure.
because one, he didn't know that Century City was 80% clones, so that's
But she's
new.
not a clone.
But
Boo.
she's not a clone. Yeah.
Yet.
My boo's not that we know of.
He's gonna see two of them, and he's gonna have to choose which one's real.
How much story we get of the three of them will depend completely on Joe's availability.
Yeah.
It'll be one off here and there.
I mean, we wrote a whole theme song, so we could easily do more episodes.
That's true.
Well, that's the hardest part of like when I'm in the writing stories, or if I take on something and I'm like, oh, this person, da 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 da, and Jimmy's like, we're not gonna have that person that month. I'm like, I
They're
can't.
like, oh, you can't do it.
Now you know my pain.
Yeah, it's tough. It's hard.
Been dealing with this since the beginning.
But it's going to be an adjustment for Carson because Century City is a darker place than Top Notch, and he's this boyish. He still has this boyish. I think it might change him a little bit.
Well, he's with two people that
That
are much darker than who he's used to being around.
I guess it depends on whose energy is higher up. So it depends.
Yeah.
Is his energy going to change the two of them, or is their two energy going to bring him down?
Or more likely, is there going to be a middle ground?
Or is there going to be middle ground? I don't know.
I mean, the Paul already
That's
gave
up
a
to
little
him.
in this episode.
That's true,
Where he
yeah.
accepted them as
He did
sidekicks.
accept. Yep.
But
And Carson still gets excited. So
yeah,
it's
of course he still
it's
gets
not
excited.
It's not a change. Yeah.
Carson's not going to be Carson.
Yeah.
So, just purely speculation, what would you guys like to see moving forward? What are you hoping for moving forward from the Topnotch Tangler?
You inadvertently, with the clone thing, offered an explanation for why Kim and Carl might not have known who each other were because, there could have been clones. It's like, no, this is somebody who looks like.
I guess we've yet to establish if Kim and Carl are aware of the clones or not. Carson wasn't.
Carson wasn't aware,
But we don't know if Kim and Carl know about it.
I'm mostly joking, but yes, that is another question. Actually, is that common knowledge outside of that town? And
it appears not, because Carson knows a lot about superheroes and he knew nothing about it.
Yeah.
So
I guess I'll have to find out today when I hear more of the script.
Kim and Carl aren't in the script. Sorry.
No. I mean, as far as just the way the concepts are presented, I didn't know. I just want I don't know the details.
I mean, my assumption is they don't know, but until it's in a script, it's not canon. So who knows if they knew or not? But yeah, what else do you want to see?
I do want to see more of. Was it Sam? Sam was the friend?
Yes.
Yes. Okay. I had to make sure. I'm like, I want to say Sam, but I'm like staring right at Sam.
The Stingray.
Yeah.
I purposely named him Sam just to mess with Sam.
That's what I thought, and I'm like, okay.
Just because it was really fun.
He gave me a second character named Stacy too, but it was spelled differently, and I was like,
yeah, I know. No,
that was coincidence.
Well, that was when you were like, is this? No,
I was like,
no.
That was
Differently, I
coincidence
don't
because
know.
Nick named that character and it was not cast when it was written.
So.
But the Sam, her best friend being Sam, was on purpose.
Yes. No, I want to see more. I want to see more of this Sam.
Oh well, read the scripture you're about to get.
Yeah. No, I was still beginning the script.
I'm super excited about those because, like, I like a lot of gritty and dark, so I'm excited to explore the less campy, and I'm excited to explore a more serious Kim and Top Notch.
So I was going to ask about that. So when you say gritty, do you mean because up to this point we've done some things I thought were actually very funny. When you do sort of like insert the real violence that like a Hell is Annie is doing or something like that to just sort of offset the wackiness of other things. And that makes it even funnier somehow. But do you mean that people are going to be reacting in a certain way that it's going to make it just actually heavy, or just
No. Because it is a comedy show, and I love the mixture of really dark, horrific things with comedy. So, like, I love horror comedies. So there always has to be moments of levity for an audience to take a break as well, and as well as some of the actors to take a break. I
feel like Kravitz is our dark sketch that uses the comedy to lighten it itself.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But so I don't want to replicate that.
Sure.
But we can do it in our own way because you see, and even some of even in the comic books, there's funny one-liners. The Avengers can get very dark, and then Iron Man says something silly, and everyone's like, "Oh, okay." So you have a break. So I want to maybe a little darker comedy, but less camp. more grit, and then we'll have to flip it back at some point.
Well, I do want to tease this upcoming miniseries that we're embarking upon, and I'm sorry, Keith, you can leave if you want.
He's covering his ears.
We've already established the beginnings of it in that Helizania is loose in Tiptown. She has Kim's former best friend, Sam the Stingray, who is overdue to discharge his powers. And there's also some shadowy figure, though we don't know who they are or what they're involved in. And this mini-series, where we're going to be performing Topnotch Tangler every month from December through June, other than maybe our shorts month, we'll see, is going to be about the origin of Kim and Glamorous Gal's relationship, the backstory of Kim and Sam's friendship, and how that all plays into what's happening with Helizani as things ramp up. And the 5th anniversary show this summer will be a big, long Topnotch Tangler special to end this thing.
July 2020. Be there.
Be there. The second Saturday of the month. And we're bringing in a new familiar character to the Topnotch Tangler, which I'm excited about as well. Which, if you come to our December live show, I think you're going to get a major hint about that. If not outright, have it spoiled for you.
A new familiar character.
A new familiar character. Final words from you guys. The actual cast of the Topnotch Tangler.
The cast. Kim is one of my favorite characters to play, and she's
Top 20 at least.
at least. Clint is still number 1. Anytime there's an opportunity, I can say bring Clint back. I do, but anyway. Yeah, no, she's one of my favorites to play. I love strong female leads. And you guys should all come to the live shows because the energy is so awesome. If you can't physically be here, definitely download, follow us on Patreon, follow us at IABD Presents on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram.
Thank you for playing the social media.
I am our social media manager, so follow it.
I'm glad you're getting to the point of you just have it down. Like, this is what I say. This is my speech of this.
Yep.
I love Carson. That's actually my favorite character I've played. So
Top 20.
He's easily a fan favorite of not just the cast, but a lot of listeners.
Everybody.
I really like Carson a lot. I think it's because he is a rule follower, but he loves superheroes, just like everybody likes heroes and everything too. So
we would not have taken him out of the segment if we didn't have to. I'm sorry, audience, right now.
Yeah, no, I'm sorry. Sorry, everyone.
Joe, you can hate Joe. No,
you can hate
I'm going to
me.
miss the hell out of Carson.
You can hate me. Just don't hate Carson. He didn't do anything wrong.
Don't hate Joe. We love Joe here. We want Joe back whenever he can.
I've loved doing this with Carson, so I'm glad you guys have enjoyed it too. That's all I got.
Keith?
Profound words.
Well, the shirt that I found was not worth being this late. So, you know, I mean, if it hadn't been for the
it's a bad rap.
yeah. Anyway.
Well, I think all we can say now is we're off.
We're off.
We're off.
Sorry.
It's All Been Done Radio Hour number 267. Story Roundtable number 6, The Topnotch Tangler. Starred Samantha Stark, Keith Jackson, and Joe Morales, along with creator Jerome Wetzel. For those of you that might be upset that Joe Morales is leaving the show, worry not, he was only gone for a few months, and then he returned to the cast. So Joe is back in the show, and thus, so is Carson. The Topnotch Tangler will continue. Please check out our website. It's allbeendoneradiohour.com. Have a great week. It's All Been Done presents.
Who's got the time?